Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exceptionally irresistible show. These are our casual chat segments. It is the segments where we invite other exceptionally irresistible people who have exceptionally irresistible stories, messages, or both. It is so much fun. It is exciting. This is the one. This is the segment that we are most excited about because it really gives us a chance to highlight the guests and to highlight the people we bring in. And there is nobody better than Dr. Nupi, the glitter practitioner, who is one of the most incredible people you could ever meet. So, Dr. Nupi, thank you so much for joining us today on our show.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much for such a gorgeous introduction. Seriously, I'm fizzing and I'm all, oh, wow. Thank you.
Yes, I met Dr. Nupi actually at a conference. I think it was the Kidney Trails conference. I saw her presenting. She came to my presentation. I saw her interacting with other presentations as well, and just the amount of energy that Dr. Nupi brought to the room was just incredible. And I reached out to her afterwards, and we got connected. And just when she comes to a room, she lights it up. And the way she likes to say, the way Dr. Nupi likes to say, she literally brings glitter to the room. And it's so true. It is so true. So, with your permission, Dr. Nupi, I'm going to read
Yeah,
your bio that you
please
sent
do.
us. And then I would love to hear more about you. And we're going to jump into our segment.
Brilliant.
So, I have it written up right here, and I'm going to read it. So,
Oh,
Dr. Nupi has been a general practitioner, or what's called a family physician, for over 20 years, and for the most part has been based in an inner city practice in Greater Manchester. I lived in Manchester, by the way, so just
I
FYI.
know.
With,
I know.
with lead specialist roles, including child safeguarding, ACEs, trauma informed care, domestic abuse, and deprivation medicine. She loves what she does, and she does it with a passion. That's definitely true. I could advocate for that. Advocating a holistic approach which delves to the root cause of someone's presenting problems, taking into account their backstory, unbr- un, unbringing upbringing, culture, and experience of what it is to be human. The whole person in centered care, an inclusive, compassionate approach that fosters hope, healing, and transformation. Holding space, raising awareness, listening to, and creating understanding, empowering choices and change, in an honor and a privilege, and so much more. So for her, this is more than just a job. This is her purpose. Nothing lights her up more than seeing the light come back in someone's eyes, or as she calls it, the fizz and spark of energy that comes when someone reconnects, rebalances, and restores their whole health needs, mind, body, and soul, and radiate from within. The fizz essence of their unique inner light with a magical, glitterful sparkle of joy. And that's what she's known for as the glitter practitioner. Plus, she's obsessed with glitter. So, you heard it right there. This is
Yes,
Dr.
that's right.
P. There's so much to unpack in your bio. I mean, it was such a,
I
general
know.
thing there. And I just
Yeah.
remembered that I'm slow on my technology side things. So right here below, tickering
Oh,
is her bio.
wow. Isn't that
Um,
clever? I'm
yeah.
loving that. Wow.
Dr.
Clever.
Nupi,
Yes.
we read about you. Now let's hear about you. Please tell us a little bit more,
So,
how did you come about this? How did glitter fall into all this? Tell us a little bit more about you, Dr. Nupi.
so thank you. Thank you for the time and the space that you're gifting me today to do this. I guess for me, I've I love people. That's the bottom line. I'm passionate about people. I'm curious. I'm a nosy Parker and I'm a chatterbox. And it's not just chit chat. I'm genuinely curious about somebody else's who they are, what makes them who they are, what's their backstory. And I think, yes, that's also you kind of need that in a physician, in a healthcare professional. bedside manner and your core skills as a doctor. But it's beyond, especially I think in community medicine. I knew from very early on in my career, I wanted to do general practice, which is family medicine and in the community, for continuity of care, to build those relationships. And the thing that I remember always thinking is it's fascinating how somebody's, the context of their problem, how it affects them, and one person's experience of their health condition is not going to be the same as somebody else, or is it going to be textbook? It very much depends on them as a person, what's going on in their life at that minute in time, but more so what's gone on in the past that perhaps has influenced how somebody thinks, feels, behaves, etc. And I've always been fascinated by that, because it's the power of your mind and your mindset that influences how you respond to a health condition and how you heal yourself as well. And I'm not saying it just goes away by magic. No, there is science behind this. But when you combine a holistic approach, which is looking at your whole self health needs, mind, body, and soul, as one, you can't separate them. That is you as a person. And if you just look at the physical, okay, that's okay. But there's so much more as well. And when you empower somebody to understand that basic needs, it's not complicated really, but you break it down to simple steps and then combine the science of medicine with the skill set that you have as a doctor. Holy shamoly, you bring them together. That's when you really see long-lasting change and transformation. And that, I believe, that is where that whole bit about raising somebody's awareness, expanding their awareness, and helping them to understand better. You're creating understanding. That's the key.
Sure.
And it's listening from here, not from here, not from just here. It's the whole thing. And that is what I mean by tuning into somebody else's needs. Because what's the unsaid? Somebody might come in and say, okay, hi, Dr. Arora, I've had, stomach pain on and off and this. And yes, you're going to do the conventional medical model of care to screen, to take the history, examine, arrange the right tests, which is all very, medical. It's a disease-orientated model of care. But when you understand, actually, this, the lighting's gone funny, sorry about that. This is been going on, and by the way, my partner left me 3 months ago and I've got no support and this, and then all of a sudden you're getting a deeper picture. It starts to come alive with color, and all of a sudden you're understanding, okay, well, I've screened for XYZ, that it's nothing too nasty, but we need to do those tests.
Sure.
But actually, this person whose whole life has been turned upside down, and the impact of her emotion onto her physical, that's key. Because you can throw as many drugs as you want and show somebody, okay, your test results were normal, everything is fine, try and take this, I'm sure everything will get better. And yes, okay, you do some deep breathing and maybe I'll refer you for some counseling or this, that, the other. Has that addressed their real need? Well, understanding that you have the power yourself to govern your thinking, reframe, challenge certain beliefs, and this takes time. It's not just going to happen overnight, but it is possible.
Sure.
And when you explain that same thing with, sounds like you've had a really tough time. Okay, so we can do this, but let's have a look at how you're feeling. You're creating that understanding. You're hearing somebody. And
Mm.
for me, it's that connection, tuning in, because I can see it in somebody's eyes anyway, and I can feel it. Okay,
Mm.
what's really going on? How are you? How are the family? How is so and so? And it's picking up on the non-verbal. I mean, I'm, as a domestic abuse clinical lead, I remember clients sort of saying, "Oh well, things are okay. Like every couple, we argue, and just like normal, like everybody else." And it was sort of left like that. And I said, "Okay, well, no, I don't know. I don't know. Tell me more." So
Mm.
the normality as a human being, you tend to normalize things
Yeah.
because you're so busy in day to day, the day to day running and doing and must be here, must go there, must do this. It's all very, especially I think in this day and age with, you've got instant access with social media, etc. And it's perfectly okay just to be
Mm.
present and allow yourself to be. And I'm not saying, you know, life is full of roses. No, life can be absolutely crap at times. It can really throw you off kilter completely. But understanding that my needs, I can own them. And I have the power to choose, and I have the power to govern my thinking. These
Mm.
thoughts do not need to define me.
Sure.
And it's just a tiny little nugget here and there that actually helps somebody to cope there and then,
Mm.
right from the minute of presentation to then going away, trying to understand, absorb this, and then, oh my gosh, that really worked. I did the F off and focus and breathe. And I feel, yeah. And I
Yeah.
do that. I share this in clinic because number one, it doesn't take that long. Number two, it's an instant fix because the two most important things are, I believe, is the breath,
Mm.
how to use your own breath to center yourself and bring you to a sense and state of just in this respond zone where
Mm.
you have slowed down time and thinking, that it doesn't need to be a knee jerk. And when life is busy and oh my God, I've got this to do and this to do, and what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? F it off.
Yeah.
F everything else off and just focus on you here and now. That is the
Mm.
power of my first F. It's not to be rude, it's not to be offensive. It is, it's been shown anyway with science. Swear words have a very powerful vibration. And
Mm.
it is, it's almost like I don't want to say a slap because of some of the things we've just been talking about, but it's just like tango slap, say, like a
Yes.
tango, bing, bing, bing. So F it off, focus and breathe, and give yourself that time and space.
Mm.
And just by breathing, you've slowed things down enough to go, hold on a minute. Okay. What can I control? What is out of my control? What can I do? And you keep your whole perspective broader, 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 as opposed
Mm.
to, I can only do this. It closes off your thinking completely. So I guess what I'm trying to say is why I love what I do and how it came about is tuning into that person's needs and showing these tiny little things which will make that impact there and then. And
Mm.
that is where the glitter comes from, to answer the question in a very long-winded way. Apologies. But it is all about that. And that when I see the light coming back into somebody's eyes, or you feel that energy, I can feel it now. And we are, what, a zillion million miles away across the pond, but I can feel that energy of connection through here. And
Mm.
that is the tingle and the fizz. And even if somebody doesn't know what that is, they feel it. They feel it
Sure.
in the
Sure.
presence when you're with
Sure.
somebody else. And the commonest thing people would say is, oh, I feel so much better. Oh, and I said, did you feel that? And they're like, yes. I said, me too. And I get really excited because nothing lights me up more. It's
Mhm.
I get really enthusiastic to share this. Let me
Mm.
share. Let me show you how you can actually use your breath 3 times a day as a prescription
Yeah.
and keep in this center. And a number of times people have said, oh, I wish I could take you home and put you on me in my pocket. And I was like, well, I've got this. I can give you my F list, which is the same thing, and you'll remember what I've said by
Sure.
just reading the words again. So that's
Mm.
where the glitter comes from. And I genuinely am obsessed with glitter, makeup and stuff. And what else was I going to tell you? And this comes from this is not from the textbooks. This is from, nor is it from medical school, nor is it from junior doctor training, etc., etc. This has come from lived and learned experience.
Mm.
Yes, with the expertise of doing what I've done for the last 24 years in my career, specializing particularly in helping, being one of the clinical leads for domestic abuse as well as child safeguarding in house. What is that all about, really?
Mm.
Delving, root cause, seeing
Mm.
beyond the surface issue, essentially. And this, I've always done that. So this is something that's been always there, but consciously so. This has come from a lived and learned experience of the
Mm.
most horrific time ever. Burnout for me 12 years ago
Wow.
was hideous. And I know I'll never go back there again because I'm aware of my needs. I know how to keep my boundaries. And when I'm a bit out of balance, everything I have shared ever since or brought into practice, either as a doctor or as a friend or as a coach, is this from here.
Mm.
This is my learnings. And I've then delved further and gone deeper with things and discovered even more. But truly knowing that mind, body, spirit connection. So this came from a place of absolute rock bottom, where I genuinely didn't know who I was. It was just this faceless nothing in a black hole, is how the best I can describe it at the height of burnout, where I was completely disconnected, empty, a shell. And it
Wow.
felt like, for somebody who is full of fizz, full of love, full of life, and ding, 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 to everybody else, they
Mm.
still saw that. That was the thing. But I was like a friggin', there's like on firework day, sparklers, and
Little
they're all
spark.
like, yeah,
Mhm.
fizzy and boom, boom,
Mhm.
boom.
Right.
And it was like right at the end when they're really
Just about
goes
dying. Yeah.
charcoaled to nothing.
Mhm.
That was me.
Wow.
And it took that for me to really understand what the heck, because it was
Mm.
a gradual thing. It's not like it just happened in one day.
Sure.
But because of who I am, because I'm, yes, very capable and positive, to everybody else, it was this, I was managing my different roles in life as a new mum of twins, as a
Wow.
partner coming back after mat leave,
Mm.
all the pressures, which were, increased workloads, and then juggling. But a lot of it was because of the expectation I was putting on myself. A lot of it was because
Mm.
of my thinking, perfectionism, unrelenting standards, just to name a few, feeling not good enough. And then the
Mm.
doubt, the worry, the fear. And then it was this vicious cycle of blame, shame. Oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. All this stuff. That is where this came from in the first place.
Mm.
And understanding that with support, with help, I allowed that to happen and I accepted that help, which was crucial.
Right.
And that is where this understanding of health needs, what it means to be in alignment, it was my awakening, genuinely. It was
Mm.
like a light bulb going off, and it suddenly, oh my God, this is a few months in now to treatment and obviously having the therapy I did. but it just all sort of made sense. And I knew my community at that time wouldn't have the access to the psychology level that I did, because at the time I had private healthcare insurance. You'd be best pushed to get that level of therapy on the NHS a couple of years. And that was back then, not now, not during pandemic, post-pandemic times. And therapy services itself, again, waiting list. And I just knew, I said, oh gosh, and it came to me mid-clinic, this the whole F list thing. I'm talking to somebody, I'm back in clinic, I'm well. And I'm saying to somebody who was struggling, you know, it's really important to go back down to your baseline needs. Food, you've got to eat, your body needs it for fuel. Food, you need to drink plenty of water as well, lots of fluids, and then get some fresh air. And I'm literally talking, the words are rolling off my tongue. Each word is an F. There was 5 then, it's now 10.
Whoa,
and I was
God.
like, oh my God, this is brilliant. I'm going to call this my F list. And I was like, it's the most unoriginal name, really, but every word begins with an F. And it is how you find your fizz again. And it's going back to basics. And that is essentially where this came from and why I am so passionate about it, because I'm living proof of this. I'm living proof myself. And I'm not saying everybody's backstory is different. My backstory is not my client or my patients. But the one thing that connects us all is our being human. In fact, it's connection,
Yes.
isn't it? And it's love, and it's courage, and it's hope, and that's what really connects us. So there's no difference, really. Only I've been more aware, and I understand. I've had an awareness, and I want to share it. That's what I want to share.
That's
basically.
incredible. And I don't like I was just now looking at just there was so much there, and I totally got carried away just listening to you, because there was so much wowness in everything you shared. These are the things that gets me going. So I just, I'm gonna keep quiet and just listen to you just go on and on, because for me, I
I'm
want to hear you
sorry.
just no. I'm saying this in a good way. There's so much in your share that really talks volumes, and I forget that it's actually we're on a show, there's audience members and there's stuff. I do want to just bring up one thing from what you said, because to me, this is the biggest takeaway, which is really important, was that normalization. You were talking a little bit earlier about, I see this too. I see this all the time. And I worked in the prison system in the past. I worked in rehab centers. I worked in all these areas that I very much understand, the type of people that you were working with. We worked with practitioners, similar to yourself and stuff. And the common thing that we always heard, it was like, oh yeah, we argue like everyone else, or we, just like everyone else, and this like everyone else. And I think where that disconnect is, and we talk about this a lot in our workshops and stuff, that we are typically born in a situation or a circumstance or a surrounding that this is our normal. Our normal, our surroundings, this is what that looks like. And in fact, I was working a lot with the African American community, because that's a big population in the prison system, unfortunately. And I was working with that community, and I actually had to do an entire case study to exactly like what you were saying, was to go to the root cause of what's causing this dysfunction, or where's it beginning, how's it starting. And the moment I would share it with the inmates and the people that I was working with, they were like, yeah, how did you know? Or I was like, well, yeah, because we just went to the root cause, kind of thing,
Yeah.
And I love how you shared that. And it's really important to focus in on that so-called normalization. It's because sometimes that normalization is that roadblock, or is that, blinder that we have. Because the moment we say, well, it's normal and like everyone else, then we think like that's not the problem. When in fact, that's exactly the problem. We have to challenge that normalization
Yes.
And that's when we start getting our breakthroughs, and that's when we start getting our pivots, and that's when we start getting,
Yes.
you know, that's when the world opens up to us in a
Yes.
sense.
Yes.
Challenge
Absolutely.
that status quo, challenge that normal, so called.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think the pandemic really, really did that to a lot of people.
I
It
agree.
really just shattered their whole world the way they knew it. And
Hmm.
a new normal was created, not a bad thing, I think. Um, something to explore. And those who are expecting the old normal to come back, these
Yeah.
are the people who live in a past and who are blocked.
Yeah.
But those who are embracing the so called new normal,
Yeah.
or new ways of doing things,
Yeah.
are the ones who are living with the times and essentially
Yeah.
thriving.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that. That was my biggest takeaway, um, which is very aligned with stuff that we talked about.
Yeah.
That was my greatest takeaway. That from your work, that what you're doing, the glitter that you bring back into people's lives, in a sense, is
Yeah.
shattering their little normal, giving them a little bit of a shock therapy, if you will.
Sprinkle. Yeah.
And
It's the F that's the shock, and then the rest
right,
of it is sparkly, and because that's how you will feel.
yeah,
And just to come back to something you said, which I think is really crucial, we're not, when you're in a surrounding where you have no control over it, you don't know any different.
right,
So your whole, I guess, your reactions, how you believe the world to be, is that tiny little sphere.
mm,
And this is where I really feel, some people might never ever get that chance to understand, actually, I have a choice. It doesn't need to be like this, because if you never know that, how will you know that that's going to lead me to a different direction? You don't. What people do know is when their health isn't right. And when your health isn't right, which is invariably because of all the other stuff that's going on, it's your body getting louder and louder to, it's manifesting almost what's really going on. I'm not saying for
mm,
everything.
right,
There's chronic health conditions, there's chronic health conditions. And it's not that if you've had a bad life, you're going to have lots of bad health. No, but it's learning that the body's reactions, you're in a constant high alert mode of stress. Not your
mm,
you might feel fine, but
right,
your body won't be. Your
right,
body will be in this high alert mode of stress, which becomes chronic. And
mm,
that is the trauma response, really. And it's like literally you are as if there's a train coming at you the whole time, is what your body thinks. You
mm-hmm,
might not think it, but your body is responding to your
to that.
circumstances, to, you know, everything else around you. And it will manifest in different ways because it's
Mm,
all connected to your to the neurotransmitters and the neuroscience behind this. So you are going to have more stomach issues. It makes, it's the adrenaline, it's the fight, flight, all the
mm-hmm,
freeze, all the fear, all of that. That is exactly it. The amygdala is our primitive brain, and it is literally, oh, it's having a field day. It literally goes to that base survival mode.
right,
What happens? Your heart starts beating faster because it's preparing your body to fight, or
mm,
your stomach starts getting jittery, starts producing more acid to get rid of food there. All of these, it has an impact on your organs, on
yeah,
your system. And you might not know it initially. It could just be a bit of heartburn, and then it gets a bit more, and then it gets louder, and then the symptom gets louder, which brings you, hi doc, yeah, I've been having heartburn for about 4 months. Okay, what are you eating? Go through that. This, anything else? Yeah, my wife's left me, and done. Okay, well, we can treat these physical symptoms, but let's see what we can do to help underlyingly what's causing this problem. Because again, I can put a plaster on, but
right,
if you're not aware that this emotional impact is it's making this amplify, well, then you don't know then, if I calm this down and I give you the tools and techniques to do that, that actually this is going to be the best thing you could do. You might not
right,
need those tablets then forever and ever and ever. And that is the key, because people recognize when their health isn't right, Might not be even emotional. It will be the physical. Oh my God, I'm so tired all the time. And I've
Right.
got aches and pains all over. I think I've got bang, bang, bang because I've Googled it and it's
Mm.
arthritis. And actually, I think I've now got this, this, this.
Right.
And you just take it back down to basics. And I'm not, that's the skill. That's
They
where the
create
medicine comes
they
in.
create their mountains, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the mind. The mind
Exactly.
is so friggin' powerful. But
Mm.
it's understanding in the same way, it actually is your blessing that once you know a couple of little tricks, you can actually reprogram and rewire that whole process. And it's about being present in the here and the now. So
Mm.
whatever has happened in the past,
Sure.
it does not need to define you. You define you here and now. And by doing so, you can influence the trajectory of your own life. And
Right.
that's what I've seen for the last, in
And
health, I'm saying. And
yeah,
when you connect that, as I'm sure you have actually, that's the whole, when we treat people with addiction, chronic health problems, that's how people get better. But it comes with ownership. It comes
sure.
with choice.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. It's that,
Yeah.
you were talking earlier about that choice, about that making that, actually defining that part where you have to pivot and where you have to do
Yes.
that shift. It's the idea that we all face struggles somehow or another.
Yes.
Um, sometimes we don't have the control over the surroundings that we live in, but
Mm-hmm.
we do have the control over how we respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that chronic, that's where it gets chronic.
Excuse me.
It's when I'm not taking
Absolutely.
that ownership, and when I'm not taking, and I mean, in any medicine, anybody would probably know is that, listen, if I'm not taking care of my health in general, my health will deteriorate.
Yes.
I can't just eat anything. I can't just, expose myself to just about anything. Like I have to, there's some precautions that I have to take.
Yes.
And what we call it in our practice, we call it the bulletproof. So make sure you have the right vests on, basically, for whatever,
Ooh.
you know.
Yes.
And what part of our research that we conducted, when we created the work of happiness, for example, one workshop that we have, when we conducted the research and developing that program, one of the research was showing one of the papers was showing that, amongst the benefits of happiness is that actually people live longer. The happier
Yes.
people actually
Yes.
live longer. I think it's by 25%, if I'm not mistaken, if that's the number is correct.
Yes. Yes.
Significantly so. Happier people earn more money. Happier people do more things. Happier people attract more, beneficial things to them. All
Absolutely.
these things that happiness does, and we do see that happiness is a form of bulletproof vest, if you will, against all these external factors that are happening. A lot of people depend their happiness on external factors. If
Yes.
only my wife didn't leave me, I would be happier today. Or if
Yes.
only,
If
I made $1 million.
if
If only,
yes.
if only, if
Yes.
only,
Then I will look after
then
myself.
I will be,
When
right?
I've done this, then I'll slow down and look after myself. And I'm like, do that now because that's going to happen a lot quicker because you're not going to get there
We're going
the
to
way
get
you're
there.
going in your health and your mind and etc. I
Right.
love what you've just said about the power of happiness. And I would say, just as being cheeky, it's the power of joy, actually.
Mm.
Because with joy, that's this abundant feeling which is constant. And I say this is your superpower. And
Mm.
it's not just, people think joy. Yeah, I don't want to just walk around going, happy skipping all the time. No, 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 it's deeper than that. It's that inner
Sure.
contentment. It's internal, and it's a state of being, which is what you're saying basically. But
Yeah.
it's not the external. It's not the when I do this, I will feel this. And it's reminding yourself joy comes from within, and
Mm.
it's even more powerful than happiness per se, because happiness is dependent on external things as well, whereas joy, true joy, is constant. It never goes.
Mm.
It's always there. Problem is, it's hidden. When life throws you down this roller coaster, here you go, just deal with the twists and the turns, and oh yeah,
Right.
we'll just stick that in for you as well. You can't see that. Because you can't be present in that moment. It's just over too much. But
Hmm.
knowing that you have the power to choose joy and you've got the power to govern your thinking, you then can make choices aligned with who you truly are, your values, your beliefs.
Yeah.
And I came up with an acronym, which I love. You're going to love this. And it's basically, being present, and it is a state of being. That's what I say about joy. And it's being in tune with your needs and values, etc., and making those choices in aligned. So joy is the superpower, but the real power behind it is just own you.
Ooh. Wow. That is
That's it.
powerful.
I've copyrighted it as
Yes.
well.
Oh, wow.
It's
So
great, isn't it? Just
yeah,
own you.
it's really funny that you say that, because in fact we do make a difference between joy and happiness as well.
I bet you do.
A little bit different than you. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because the way I see joy is that, jolly good, woohoo, person
Is
like
it?
down the
Okay.
street kind of thing. But in reality, like in practice, and this is, at least I can only talk for myself,
Yeah.
there are days that I'm just not that, and I don't
Yeah.
wake up in the morning, feeling like I want to get up. And there are days that,
Yeah.
but when I'm feeding that internal, I think happiness is a little bit more internal in a sense. And I'll share
Do
why.
you? Yeah.
Is because, yeah, I mean, because I think happiness is really that state of being. It's an action item that I have to do. And it's where I could block out, if I'm in a state of happiness, that being part, then I could block out all these external factors. That means I'm happy today. Maybe I don't physically have my $1 million, that if only I had $1 million or whatever. Maybe I don't have that immediately today, but I'm still in that state of happiness because I have all these other tools that allow me and help me. And that's the whole work of
Mm.
that happiness part. The joy component is when, because I have this happiness and because I have this, these tools and all these things and whatever, and they're actually working. When they actually, like when I close a big deal, when I did some kind of real estate deal or whatever, and I closed it, and everything, and that, I'm jumping for joy. Okay. Like that's when I'm really
Yeah.
that, and that
Yeah.
was me just being me, and that was, that
Yeah.
is all that. But I didn't depend my joy, on this deal getting closed. Like, yes, I'm super excited about this deal closing, but I was happy regardless. I didn't have to prove that
Yeah.
to anybody. I didn't have to
Yeah.
show that to anybody. So I think I'm not saying that they're separate
No.
from what you're saying. I think
No.
they tie in
You just
together.
have them the other way round. And
But I think
for
they're tied
me,
together in the same
they are.
way as well we are
Yes.
tying them
Yes.
together.
Yes. Exactly.
That's what I'm trying.
Where
That's what
I'm
I'm bring out
calling,
here.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
100% agree with you. Um, and I personally think happiness comes and goes,
right?
but being in joy with joy is just that you feel it from your heart. Now, I call that's when your heart feels like it's over, it's like flooding. And yeah, I can feel it
Yeah,
now, and that's where the fizz tingles start happening, because that's the fizz that everybody's essence and uniqueness is exactly that. But it's knowing, irrespectively, that you actually can tap into this. Because
sure.
when you choose the things that light you up, that make you feel, oh my God, this is it. I'm doing the things I love, and
Hmm.
I'm choosing these things purposely, and I'm choosing the friendships purposely, because this thrives with connection.
Right, right.
And all of a sudden, you've balanced your whole mind, body, and soul, and you're back in control. That
Hmm.
is the power of that motion,
Exactly.
because
Yeah,
it's tapping into it. And yeah, I find it
That's
incredible,
why
and that's
that's
the
why you're on the show,
essence.
Dr. Nupi. That's why you're
Yeah,
on the show, because that's exactly what that whole exceptionally irresistible
yeah,
means. It's like
yeah,
we're here at this state. So being
yeah,
in state of happiness is a first step.
yeah,
We have to be happy irregardless of what's going on around us.
yes,
Now, hey, do you want that extra level of joy? Do you want to live
yeah,
in that constant, happiness?
yeah,
Well, guess what?
mm,
Here's that exceptionally irresistible means that one step further, you
yes,
know,
that's it.
here's how you
Yeah,
get that. That's
yeah,
exactly, so I'm very,
yeah.
very glad that we had this
Oh,
we
and it's
unpacked
not
that.
all, it's not exactly, and it's not always constant, so this is why I'm really grateful that you gave me an opportunity to share, for me to share that this is not always like this. People
Sure,
will see, even at the height of burnout, they were seeing somebody who
sure,
was reasonably positive, reasonably okay. Well, I wasn't, but you know, I was not that person.
sure.
And it's, it's, appearances can be very deceptive.
Absolutely.
And it's really I knew I wasn't okay inside. And the reason it felt so bad and disconnected was because I wasn't being true to myself. I
Mm,
wasn't speaking up and saying, I'm really not okay. I
right,
kept pushing through. I kept pushing through. And negative emotions, things that, it's normal to have them.
right.
It's not about sort of blocking out, I'm not like today, for example, when I had a couple of things I needed to do. I wasn't feeling great. I had a bit of a sore throat this morning, not great. And but I know I'm pushing the boat out. I am staying up later than I normally do. So guess what?
Mhm.
My immune system defense mechanisms are going to be affected.
Sure.
I've got control over that. So own it. So I don't want to keep feeling, oh, I'm tired or I'm not feeling well. Right. I know what I need to do.
Right.
But the point is, in terms of negative feelings and emotions, they're actually your blessings. And that
Mhm.
sounds really weird. Who wants to feel like crap the whole time? No, I'm not saying that. But it's an alarm bell almost to,
Mhm.
what is it? It's
That
almost
way.
like it's like, what is it you're missing? You're
Yeah.
missing something. Tune in, tune in, tune in. You're feeling fearful, but what is it really? I'm worried that I'm going to make a fool of myself. This is what I went through just a few days ago for this presentation talk thing, and I was nearly didn't do it. And I'm like,
Mm.
"What are you afraid? Come on, what do I do? Da 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 da." And it's like, "Oh no, you can't do it. No, 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 no." And I effed it off, focused and breathed. And I thought, this is my passion. This is how I'm going to learn.
Mm.
Every opportunity is a growth, and when you're in that mindset, knowing that, you can actually kind of miss the steps and go, okay, F it off, focus and breathe, get
Yeah.
back to center. Right. Let's just do the things that I
Realign.
know make me feel good, because
Mhm.
it's okay to be anxious and fearful and all of these other negative things. It's a feeling.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to define you. It will also pass. And
Mhm.
this is where the distraction, not mindless distraction, things that bring you back into a state of fun and happiness, doing the things you love to do. Get
Yeah.
some fresh air. Keep an eye on your mind, your physical health. Keep an eye on the connections you have around you, because it's the right connections. You're going to just flourish and grow. The wrong
Right.
connections, the ones who are taking, but you're also giving, are going to drain you. But you're in control of that. It all comes back to the only person responsible for the way you feel is you,
Right.
not anybody
And actually,
else,
here's where
not
the
the
magic
situ.
here's
That's the
where the magic
magic.
happens.
Yes,
This is
yes,
exactly where the magic happens when you are
yes,
aligned. When you
yes,
are aligned with the universe or what's happening around you and stuff
yes,
like that.
yes.
I want to give a really good example, and I really want to finish off on this because if this wasn't mind blowing enough, this is crazy. In the pre-show, Dr. Nupi and I suddenly realized that we're actually both dressed in almost the same colors,
Yes.
which is actually the colors of the brand of the Exceptionally Irresistible. That
Is
orange.
it?
Yeah, it is.
Ah, I
This
didn't
is the
know
first
that.
time. This is the first time in our history of our show, in the entire year of our show that we're doing this already, that to like everybody that's on this show is actually on brand in a sense, on color. But it really goes to show that this was not planned. I never tell anybody what
Promise.
what to wear or whatever. That's not my business. But when you're aligned with somebody, when you are aligned with what's going on, magic happens. It's as if you have this intuition that you know what you need to do, or
Yes.
and sometimes it's in the subconscious. Sometimes
Yes.
it could be many, many different things. And people might call this like woohoo or whatever, but there are so many practical applications to
Yes.
it on so
Yes.
many different levels that people are like, well, how did you know? Or how did you? I get this all the time, by the way.
Same.
And I'm like, yeah, my name is Jeremiah, but just I didn't get the prophet name after that. But it's really just being aligned and being centered and being connected and being authentic and all these
Yes.
different things that you were talking about today in our show. That's exactly it. That's exactly the message that if anybody got anything today, it's, go against that nature. It's not natural that things are happening or whatever. It's not normal in a sense. Fight that status quo and realign to who you truly are. And Dr. Nupi is the kind of person that you want to hang out with. She could show you how to
Oh,
do that. And, I just want to share Dr. Nupi can be reached on LinkedIn. That's the best way to get to her.
right.
So just LinkedIn, you look Dr. Nupi Arora. That's this, queen glittery practitioner that's here. She's the superpower.
Oh,
That's what it's all about.
it is.
This is a show that we believe that everybody has a fingerprint. And that fingerprint, it's upon you to leave that, unique and special, part of you on the world. You have that ability to leave your mark on the world. That's what it happens. And this
Yes.
is the show where we want to highlight you and where we want to talk about your story and how you are exceptionally irresistible. So, as a conclusion, if you want to show up on this show, just as Dr. Nupi took us up on our offer, the way to reach us is exceptionallyirresistible@gmail.com. Send us an email. We will send you a form to fill out, and you could also be on this show. It's all about highlighting other incredible people. This has been another incredible, awesome show. Thanks to Dr. Nupi.
My
So again,
pleasure.
connect with her, connect with us, and we hope to see you again. Dr. Nupi, any closing thoughts?
Just thank you so much. I think I could cry because I'm so filled with just, I'm so grateful and thank you. And
Thank you.
it's that magic. It is that magic. And that's what I love sharing. And that's why I get really emotional and really fizzy and tingly because it can happen.
Mhm.
Just trust, believe, and choose that joy. Just own you, is what I
Yes.
would say. And please connect with me. And because I'm doing coaching, I've got about 5, 6 slots available for one-to-one coaching on my program. And if you're not feeling okay, just book a call with me. We can have a chat. I would love to help.
Love it. Awesome, awesome stuff. Thank you, everybody, again, and we'll see you for another Casual Chats next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.